Hovering over the historic Mapleton neighborhood, you are looking at the breathtaking North United Methodist Church at 3808 North Meridian Street. While this stunning stone structure was completed in 1931, the church's roots actually trace back to the mid-1800s. Originally, a traveling Methodist circuit rider preached to just 6 farming families in a rural settlement known as Sugar Grove. Eventually, the growing congregation built a small log cabin and later a dedicated church building just 50 feet from where this massive complex stands today. In 1925, they finally broke ground on this grander vision. The original 1931 sanctuary is a true masterpiece of the English Gothic Revival style. It was designed by Charles Hobson. Notice the formidable, square stone bell tower with its tall louvered windows and corner pinnacles. It's a defining landmark of the entire property. Inside, the original building features 12 incredible stained glass windows, each meticulously crafted in vibrant colors to represent one of the 12 apostles. The sanctuary also houses a massive custom Holt pipe organ that was designed and installed by the famous Kimball Company, creating an auditory experience as grand as the architecture itself. As the congregation boomed in the mid-20th century, the building had to evolve to keep up with the times. A major education wing was seamlessly added in 1951, followed by the completion of a beautiful inner courtyard in 1962. If you pan over to the western side of the complex, you absolutely cannot miss the striking, modern addition with its massive, steeply pitched roof. Completed in 1993, this major architectural expansion was managed by the acclaimed Indianapolis firm Woolen, Molson and Partners. It effortlessly blends a towering, contemporary silhouette with the traditional historic limestone and masonry of the original structure. Now for some unique structural facts you might not know. During a recent historic preservation project spearheaded by Tower Pinkster, the original 1930s church bell and its housing were completely refurbished to their former glory. To protect the structure's massive foundation from water damage, extensive underground work was required to waterproof the lower-level window wells and reconfigure the original copper gutters to stop subterranean flooding. But perhaps the most interesting architectural fact is how the building serves double duty as a neighborhood lifeline today. The church hosts one of the oldest farmers markets in Indianapolis, right on its grounds, to combat the local food desert. Designed in the English Gothic style by renowned architect Charles Hobson, North United Methodist Church stands as a historic Indianapolis landmark. While construction began in the 1920s, this tranquil inner courtyard was thoughtfully added in 1962. From above, the stonework reveals a striking, deliberate cross pattern, a hidden architectural centerpiece that crowns the property in quiet reflection. It's a perfect example of historic architecture remaining structurally vital to a modern community. You are looking at the sprawling stone complex of Tabernacle Presbyterian Church. Known locally simply as TAB, this massive structure is a stunning example of modified 15th century Gothic Revival architecture, heavily inspired by late medieval English parish churches. The congregation itself dates back to 1851 as the Third Presbyterian Church, but it has a rather humorous origin story for its current name. In 1883, the church agreed to change its name to Tabernacle Presbyterian at the specific request of Reverend A.T. Pearson, who promised to become their new pastor if they made the switch. The church officially changed its name, but Pearson ultimately took a job at a prominent church in Philadelphia instead. Despite the bait and switch, the new name stuck permanently. As the congregation moved north from downtown Indianapolis, they purchased this lot in 1921. The sprawling limestone complex you see today was designed by Robert Frost Daggett, a prominent second-generation Indianapolis architect, and J.W. Cresswell Corbusier, a leading Gothic architect from Cleveland. Built in 2 main phases, the primary sanctuary was officially dedicated in 1923, followed by the connecting chapel and gymnasium in 1929. The exterior is completely clad in beautiful Indiana Bedford limestone, featuring a classic cruciform layout and traditional pointed arches. Inside, the sanctuary is just as breathtaking, featuring soaring timber hammer beam trusses that support the ceiling. Shortly after opening in 1924, a massive medieval-style chancel window containing over 20,000 hand-glazed pieces, was installed to depict scenes from the life of Christ. Later, in 1953, the congregation launched a massive campaign with the renowned Willett Company of Philadelphia to replace the remaining plain windows with a full, story-driven series of stained glass. In 1980, another beautiful series of windows was gifted to the McKee Chapel addition. At the roof's highest peak, a traditional Latin cross points the community's eyes toward the heavens. Flanking the lower roofline, ornate stone pinnacles do more than look decorative. Their heavy masonry provides crucial weight to counteract the roof's outward structural thrust, while their sharp points lift the spirit upward. Behind the sanctuary stands the majestic bell tower, featuring open stone louvers designed to project the sound of its historic chimes across the neighborhood. Together, these elements stand as an enduring testament to timeless craftsmanship and architectural ingenuity. Next on the list, wooded campus at 7700 North Meridian Street, you are looking at the magnificent Second Presbyterian Church. Designed in the classic French Gothic tradition, this stunning limestone edifice was officially dedicated in October 1959. The congregation's roots, however, run much deeper into the city's history, having officially organized in November 1838. Their very first pastor was the famous Reverend Henry Ward Beecher, who served the church for a decade. Their first permanent building, dedicated in 1840 on Monument Circle, was humorously nicknamed the Pepperbox Church because of the unusual shape of its New England-style steeple. As the congregation grew and moved over the decades, they eventually became the very first church to be granted a building permit in the residential area of North Meridian Street. This monumental move was made possible when church elder Charles J. Lynn and his wife Dorothy generously donated this beautiful 20-acre parcel of land, along with a massive $1 million gift for its construction. The incredible, sprawling complex you see today was designed by the architectural firm McGuire and Shook. The building's majestic architecture is heavily inspired by the famous Sainte-Chapelle in Paris, which served as a direct model for its design. The most striking exterior feature you can see from the air is the slender flèche, or arrow spire, rising gracefully from the center of the roof ridge, which was directly inspired by that historic Parisian chapel. Classic French Gothic elements are incorporated everywhere across the exterior, from the traditional pointed arches and intricate stone carvings to the shape of the massive windows. Inside, the 99-foot-long main nave features an arched wooden roof, continuing the traditional Gothic tone. One of the most interesting architectural facts is that most of the exquisite wood and stone carvings found throughout the church were not outsourced, but actually designed by a talented church member and sculptor named Adolf Wolter. Furthermore, while much of the beautiful stained glass was newly designed by Henry Lee Willett, the congregation brought a vital piece of its past with them. A breathtaking Ascension stained glass window, originally created by Tiffany in 1902, was carefully moved from their previous downtown sanctuary and meticulously installed in this new building. But the undeniable focal point of this entrance stands quietly between the heavy double doors. In traditional Gothic architecture, this central supporting pillar is called a trumeau, historically reserved for prominent religious figures to symbolically welcome the congregation. Here standing watch is a magnificent limestone sculpture titled Door of the Reformer, carved in 1959 by the highly acclaimed sculptor Adolf Wolter, who also crafted the companion piece, Doorway of the Angels, for the church. This solitary figure perfectly bridges the gap between grand architectural vision and intimate, human-scale artistry. It is a quiet masterpiece of stone, welcoming all who enter. Tucked outside the east wall is the stunning memorial garden. This structured space seamlessly blends traditional masonry with imported Italian granite, serving as a quiet architectural retreat on the sprawling campus grounds. The incredible stained glass isn't just limited to the main hall either. If you look toward the smaller Milner Chapel, you will find a delicate, brilliantly colored stained glass rose window. Nearby stands a historic stone Celtic cross. This heavy monument was salvaged directly from the roof gable of their former Vermont Street building, perfectly anchoring the campus's newer construction to their deep historical roots. From its humble pepperbox beginnings to this majestic 20-acre wooded campus, Second Presbyterian continues to stand as a towering architectural landmark in Indianapolis.
If you've made it this far, I want to say a sincere thank you. I hope you liked my video and enjoyed diving into the history of these landmarks as much as I enjoyed filming them. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button while you're here. It really helps out with distribution and gets these historic tours in front of more eyes.
You are looking at the expansive architectural complex of St. Luke's United Methodist Church. Unlike the towering stone sanctuaries downtown, this sprawling multi-wing facility is defined by its striking red brick masonry, clean geometric lines, and vast interconnected courtyards that anchor a deeply active modern congregation. The church's origins trace back much further than its current campus, evolving through decades of community growth in Indianapolis, before moving to this expansive northern acreage to accommodate a rapidly expanding membership. From an aerial perspective, the structural layout is a masterclass in mid to late century campus design, featuring a large central sanctuary block flanked by extensive educational wings, administrative spaces, and fellowship halls. The exterior walls showcase a meticulous blend of warm red brick textures, punctuated by precise architectural detailing, flat and gabled roof lines, and expansive expanses of glass that bridge interior ministry spaces with the surrounding outdoor courtyards and circular driveways. The design emphasizes functionality and community integration, creating an open, welcoming environment that spans several distinct structures linked seamlessly by modern breezeways and hyphens. Within the complex, sacred spaces like Robertson Chapel serve as focal points for intimate gatherings, while the broader facility houses massive community outreach spaces, preschool and early childhood education rooms, and creative arts centers. St. Luke's has long distinguished itself not only through its unique structural footprint, but through its modern ethos, operating as an open, affirming, and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to serving the greater Indianapolis area. Surrounding the courtyard are walls of columbarium niches, the final resting place for church members who chose cremation. Each sealed compartment holds the remains of a beloved individual, keeping them close to the spiritual community they cherished in life. At the heart of the garden stands a striking concrete memorial, anchored by a bold cross and inscribed with the word peace. Etched into its surface are scripture verses offering comfort, solace, and the promise of resurrection to all who visit. More than just a resting place, this tranquil garden serves as an outdoor sanctuary, a quiet retreat for prayer, reflection, and remembering those who forever remain part of the church's community. This campus stands as a premier example of how mid-century religious architecture evolved to support a bustling, multifaceted modern ministry. Hovering over the corner of 42nd and Central Avenue, you are looking at the striking profile of St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church. Founded in 1921, just a year after Joan of Arc was canonized, the parish was established to serve a growing community of worshipers on the city's north side. The parish commissioned the distinguished Chicago architect Henry J. Schlacks to design a monumental structure. Schlacks intentionally rejected the traditional Gothic style used by many neighboring Protestant churches of the era, choosing instead to design a grand classical Roman basilica that would serve as a bold, undeniable architectural beacon for the Catholic community. Rising majestically into the Indianapolis skyline, the bell tower of St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church stands as a striking architectural masterpiece. Designed by renowned Chicago architect Henry J. Schlacks and completed in 1929, this Italian-style campanile reaches an impressive height of 140 feet. Its design is a loving tribute to the ancient bell tower of the Church of Santa Pudenziana in Rome, bringing a touch of classic European basilica architecture right to the Meridian Kessler neighborhood. Built directly into the stone structure of this grand tower is a deeply meaningful feature that honors the heart of the parish. Housed inside an architectural niche is a detailed statue of St. Joan of Arc herself. Depicting the legendary 15th century French heroine, military leader, and martyr, this statue serves as a powerful guardian of the church. Its presence visually declares the identity of the parish and offers a timeless emblem of bravery, faith, and protection, looking out over the surrounding community. Yet, For all its historic grandeur and architectural beauty, the tower holds a rather amusing mystery that has locals scratching their heads. If you fly a drone high enough to look inside the belfry, you will notice that the original physical bell is completely gone, replaced by electronic audio speakers. But here's the funny part. Nobody in the parish or local historical archives actually knows when the bell was taken out or when the speakers were installed. It is a completely undocumented historical mystery. The exterior features a stunning green tile roof, a classic narthex portico, and a facade inspired by the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. First Meridian Heights Presbyterian Church stands as a stunning testament to 1920s ecclesiastical architecture. Opened in 1928 to serve the growing Meridian Heights congregation, this magnificent Gothic-style structure was designed by celebrated Indianapolis architect Herbert Foltz, alongside his partners Osier and Thompson. The heavy wooden doors are deeply recessed within a striking stone archway, framed by meticulous masonry that draws the eye upward. Integrated cleanly into the stonework above the threshold is a profound architectural cross, anchoring the entrance in faith and symmetry. The stained glass windows of First Meridian Heights Presbyterian Church function as an intricate theological text, written in light and color. Designed in the traditional Gothic lancet style, each tall, multi-pane window features carefully embedded heraldic shields and ancient Christian symbols that carry deep historical weight. Rising dramatically above the roofline, the striking central bell tower anchors the entire architectural composition. Designed with strict vertical proportions and deeply recessed stone louvers, it projects both acoustic resonance and visual authority, acting as a classic beacon that deliberately draws the eye skyward while housing the historic bells that have called the neighborhood to worship for nearly a century. When architect Herbert Foltz, along with his partners, Osier and Thompson, designed the structure in the late 1920s, Gothic revival architecture commonly incorporated high-grade copper for flashings, valleys, and drainage systems due to its exceptional durability. Mounted within the stonework of the exterior wall, the carved heraldic shield displays the traditional coat of arms associated with Saint Joan of Arc, granted to her by King Charles VI following her military victories. The emblem prominently features an upright sword accompanied by royal fleurs de lis, symbolizing her legacy as a French heroine and the historical heritage of her mission. This landmark holds a profound connection to the highest office in the land, tracing part of its lineage back to an early congregation where U.S. President Benjamin Harrison served as a longtime elder. Following a 1970 merger that unified historic local congregations, the successor church even stewarded and later entrusted a magnificent, commemorative Tiffany stained glass window commissioned in the president's honor to the Indianapolis Museum of Art. Northwood Christian Church, located right in the heart of the Meridian Kessler neighborhood at 4550 Central Avenue. Formed originally back in 1920 to serve the city's rapidly growing north side, this congregation eventually made a major post-World War II move right across the street to construct their permanent campus. What started as an ambitious post-war auditorium quickly evolved with the addition of an educational wing and an intimate 70-seat chapel in 1954, all linked by a peaceful 30-foot cloister walk and garden. One of the most striking structural features defining the property's prominent corner placement is its elegant vertical bell tower and steeple. Rising gracefully above the surrounding tree canopy, the tower anchors the entire complex, serving as a classic visual marker for the neighborhood. Its traditional proportions reflect mid-century ecclesiastical design, blending a strong structural presence with a welcoming landmark that catches the morning light across Central Avenue. Moving down from the roofline, the exterior showcases remarkable masonry craftsmanship. The structure is built using distinctive Chicago adobe brick, giving the exterior a rich, warm, and textured earthy palette that distinguishes it from standard red brick builds of the era. This specialized brickwork provides a sense of timeless endurance, weathering decades of central Indiana seasons while maintaining a solid, sculptural architectural form. At ground level, the main entrance draws immediate attention with its iconic, vibrant red front doors, a traditional symbol of sanctuary, warmth, and hospitality. Flanking and defining the upper facade is a magnificent rose picture window. When the morning sun hits just right, this stunning piece of stained glass casts a luminous array of colors, blending historic sacred art traditions with the architectural character of Indianapolis's historic North Side. The last stop on our list, Bethlehem Lutheran Church, a stunning English Gothic landmark located in Indianapolis's historic Meridian Kessler neighborhood at the corner of 52nd Street and Central Avenue. Originally starting out in a modest storehouse nearby in 1923, the growing congregation eventually constructed this permanent sanctuary in 1931. Approaching the main facade, the entrance commands immediate attention through a wide, sweeping set of stone stairs leading upward to a set of vibrant red double doors. These bold red doors serve as a classic ecclesiastical symbol of sanctuary, warmth, and divine hospitality, contrasting sharply against the cool gray tones of the surrounding limestone blocks. The structure features an extensive collection of art and stained glass, including prominent nave windows designed in 1960 and dedicated in 1966 that vividly recount the life of Christ through the Nativity, Good Shepherd, and resurrection scenes. Additional highlights include chancel windows representing church sacraments, baptism, and parable windows along the nave, the striking circular rose window on the facade, an etched glass narthex window, and a specialized tower window added in 2006. The history of this landmark dates back to 1923, when the congregation first gathered in a modest storehouse at 52nd Street and College Avenue. After outgrowing their early structure on 52nd and Central, members constructed the current permanent English Gothic home, crafted from Indiana limestone, in 1931. The campus later expanded with a compatible limestone addition dedicated in 1957, rounding out a historically rich architectural project built smoothly through dedicated community effort, without any unusual catastrophes during construction.